and a very warm welcome. I am Ruchi Sharma. In this time of great difficulty faced by cryptocurrency markets globally and at the domestic front, RBI is staying steadfast at its decision to resist private digital currency entry. A lot of questions need to be answered. Joining us is Mr. Jay Shah, financial advisor to Polkador Fund and founder of AVG, to provide his perspective on the global cryptocurrencies. Welcome to 3.0 TV, Jay.
Thank you, Ruchi. I'm so happy to be here. Very nice to be here today.
Okay. Jay, so I was reading about your background. It's very interesting. You worked on diamonds. You introduced nitrogen ice creams to India, and now you're working on Web3. So just tell us a little about your background, your journey, and what attracted you the most about Web3.
Sure. So I grew up in Hong Kong. I was born in India. However, when I was a kid, I was already exposed to a different culture. So growing up abroad was a new experience for me. However, over time I tried different things. I worked in real estate and I worked in management, and then I kind of found my passion towards entrepreneurship. So I went to NYU and I studied international entrepreneurship. And while I was there, I was trying to find out where my forte is, where my passion actually lies. And sooner or later, I realized that I am a venture builder. I love helping startups. I'm a founder myself. I just love the idea of creating, translating a mere idea into reality. And that was really like what my passion was towards. So I kind of ventured into that field. I worked in the family business. I still help the family business. And Web3 was something that I was very intrigued with from a very early age. I always loved the idea of being your own bank, self-custody, the idea of having no third party involved within two individuals. So I kind of started playing around with protocols in 2016. That's when I started my journey. And ever since, I never turned around. And that's how it went.
Okay. So you founded AVG. What does AVG stand for?
So AVG stands for Ahimsa Ventures Group, and AVG is a venture builder, investor, and an advisory partner for ambitious Web3 enabled companies seeking long-term and sustainable value and growth. So it's founded around the principles of Ahimsa, where it's based around compassion, and we harbor a deep respect towards all living beings in this world. And so we want to apply these same tools to blockchain, and we believe blockchain can, solve a lot of problems in the world, by unlocking a lot of economic incentives and, protecting data sovereignty for individuals, and also bridging gaps between new and the old world, and also to regenerate our planet. I think blockchain can really solve and do wonders.
That's a very, very different and very unique idea. Can you tell us about your team and their expertise?
Yeah, sure. So our founders are scholars from NYU and top tier universities. And we all have built multiple companies in the past. We come from investment and startup backgrounds, and we personally have been active in the Web3 space since 2016 across, different dimensions. We've built startups and we've advised startups in from infrastructure to DApps, advising layer 1s and layer 2s, builder DEXs and oracles. So our startup founder backgrounds range from a huge variety of topics, but all coming from the same root of entrepreneurship.
So what are those 3 pillars that AVG is based on?
So AVG has 3 main pillars. First pillar is venture building. So venture building is kind of helping startups from a very early stage. We help them find the product market fit. We kind of leverage the existing infrastructure and build upon that and build new business models, but Web3 style for them. Second is we venture investors. So we kind of look at good opportunities in the Web3 space across different dimensions. We have an IC on board which reviews a lot of deal flows in our pipelines, and we invest across. Our investment thesis is quite narrow, and at the moment, because we're going through a crypto winter, we're focusing on early stage Web3 startups, primarily in infrastructure, decentralized IDs, oracles, and startups that are building technology that will enable the mass market to come on board. And the third pillar is advisory. So we help startups at any stage of their journey, and we kind of help them scale from here to the next level. We help them with marketing, we help them with global exposure, and that's what's really important for us.
Right. So what are the core values of AVG?
So AVG, you can think of AVG when it's like a Web3 enabled company where spirituality meets Web3. We have a few core principles that we follow. One of them is, international markets. We have a very deep understanding of how business practices work in the East and the West. We also have relationships in Asia, India, Southeast, and in the Southeast Asia, and also in the US. So we kind of want to leverage those relationships. We also focused on sustainability. We believe, the world is going towards a much better drive. Right. And the last forum, when the world leaders met and they agreed towards the Paris climate change agreement. So decarbonization is also one big thing that we look at. We're also looking at activating the creators economy, so Web3 is really giving power back to the content creators, whereas we saw Web2, big data companies, social media companies, they were giving power back to, they actually kept majority of the revenues, and only a small chunk of it went to actual creators that were creating content. Right. Web3 actually reverses that and puts power back into the creators. And then we also embrace finance. We just saw recently, because of FTX, a lot of the centralized exchanges where a lot of the user data and funds were parked, they were mishandling those funds. So I think decentralized finance has a huge power to change the world and bank the unbanked population. As well as, Web3 is so fascinating because I have learned more about finance from Web3 and crypto than I've learned in any single class or any single video I've watched online. So I think Web3 definitely has, the potential to teach people about different verticals that they're good at, as well as it enables them to kind of be their own self-servant bank. Right. And the last thing that we also focus on is pioneering innovation. We believe in emerging technology, and India is at the forefront of leading tech. So we've seen technologies that were never seen before, like staking, DeFi, governance, DAO formation, smart contracts. So these are some of the principles that we and core values that AVG definitely stands by.
Okay. So talking about the crypto market, the cryptocurrency market, so the market has gone through a lot in the past 10 months. We saw Bitcoin, coming down from almost $69,000 to $17,000 or maybe $16,000. So what do you think? How is the financial world taking this downfall? And investors, are they worried? They are scared? They're not scared? And will they continue investing in cryptocurrency, or they'll shift to other asset class?
So I would say that I would answer this question in two parts. Firstly, there are crypto tourists, right? So the crypto tourists have definitely checked out. They've left the market, and they're like, they come in, they play a little bit, and they kind of, they all want a piece of the pie. Right. However, I think the real crypto natives are here to stay. We all come in with a long-term vision that, when we invest our time and our assets into this class, that, we're here and we're in this for a long time. We're not in it for just a short game. So in terms of developers and devs, I would just tell them to keep building. This is where it's their time to shine, to work on technologies that have never been seen before, to work on infrastructure that will onboard the masses. And for crypto tourists, I would say, they'll never put your eggs in one basket. So it's fair, when an asset class has, leverage or over leveraged, when the fear and greed index, we were almost at extreme greed levels. So in a way, I would also say it's a good thing, because it flushes out all the bad actors from the market, and only the natives remain in the game. So if for personally, a long-term believer. So I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm DCAing. So I would buy a small chunk, no matter. I would not look at the price. I think the price is what really causes people a huge, it brings stigma to them. However, if you really truly believe in the core tech of it and the technology and the long-term sustainability, it wouldn't make much of an impact. Yes.
Have you spotted any opportunity in cryptocurrency market, given this prolonged crypto winter, and especially after the aftermath of FTX collapse?
Yes, actually, one opportunity that I spotted was gaming and GameFi. So why gaming and GameFi? There's about 3 billion gamers worldwide, and only less than 1% of them are into blockchain gaming. So, the opportunity is huge. 99% of all gamers, we went through 3 different eras of gaming. So we went through P2P, pay to play, when we would go out and would buy PlayStation discs and CDs. So we would pay and we'd play games too. And then we saw a huge shift when the smartphone era came out. That was F2P. So free to play, we had our own smartphones and we had free games, Candy Crush, everyone had Angry Birds.
Right.
And these free games became, unicorns, billion-dollar companies.
Actually.
No one would have actually thought. And the third era, which we're coming into P2E, play to earn or play and earn, actually,
Right.
So this is an era where the gamers are actually being awarded for the time that they spent into these games for the first time. How cool is it for I've spent so much time and I've spent 5 years, upgrading my car from, a normal basic Honda to a Ferrari in game. But at the end of it, I lose my game and that's it. I'm not, I'm not rewarded for this time, but for the first time, I can actually go out there and I can engage in the creators economy. I can trade my assets. I can also upgrade my skins. I can also earn for the amount of, earn tokens that can be replaced for my daily bread and butter. So I think it's really creating a huge economy. So an opportunity that I really think is huge is gaming. Because the mass market has not onboarded there yet, and top tier AAA games, they're all eyeing to build on blockchains. So I think it's a huge opportunity.
So there's this technology question I wanted to ask you. How are blockchains different from parachains? What is the main difference?
So the whole idea of layer 1s, layer 2s and layer 0s, they didn't exist maybe 4 or 5 years ago. When I actually came in, when I entered the world of blockchain, there was just Ethereum or there was just Cardano, there's a Solana, there's just a blockchain.
Right.
So what does a blockchain actually do? It's trying to solve the trilemma of a blockchain: scalability, security and decentralization.
Right.
So as people started using these blockchains, they realized that obviously none of these blockchains have fully solved these problems. So that's why layer 2s were born, Polygon, Arbitrum, ZK Sync, etc., etc.
Right.
So these layer 2s were born because of the scalability problem. At one point we saw, Ethereum gas fees were so high that the gas fees were higher than the NFT itself. It was bizarre. So that's why layer 2s were formed, because they could, the transactions would be done on a different layer while still maintaining the security of that blockchain. And so coming to Parachain. So Parachain is layer 0. So layer 0 was also born after realizing that, if I wanted to have cross-chain communication or interoperability, how is that possible? That doesn't happen because I can't talk from one blockchain to the other. I can't communicate with any users. So that's why layer 0 was born. And these concepts have only been, they've only come into the limelight, I think, in the last 1-2 years. So that's the key difference. So main blockchains are all layer 1s and layer 2s, and also layer 0. Layer 0 is just basically, you can think of it as the highway that connects all different smaller paths, whereas layer 1 is just one ecosystem. So that's the main difference, I would say.
So does layer 0 increase scalability?
I think layer 2s increase the scalability, and layer 0s also do, but layer 0s kind of they allow communication to happen between different blockchains.
So why is Ethereum on layer 1 and layer 2, and why is Polkadot on layer 0? Is there any benefit to it or a financial benefit to it? Why have they chosen layer 2?
Okay,
If you could answer that.
so layer 2s have only come in to help with mass adoption and scalability of Ethereum, right? So Ethereum, we found the problem of congestion on blockchains. So to avoid that, layer 2s were born. So transactions can be done on layer 2s faster, whereas also paying virtually nothing.
Fee.
Yeah, almost gasless,
Okay.
or negligible gas fees. So that's why it was born. Layer 0s were born to kind of connect all layer 1s together. So right now, if I wanted to, if I had assets on Ethereum and Solana, it'd be very difficult for me to move assets across these two layers. So that's where layer 0 comes in. Although it's still very nascent, it's very early. We haven't seen layer 0s, you know, kind of blow up as well as layer 1s have. But layer 0s are very important because they enable cross-chain communication between layers. And layer 1s and layer 2s are kind of, you know, they go hand in hand.
India is very, you know, adopting blockchain very fast. So do you think India will lead in Web3 in the coming future?
Yes, absolutely, undoubtedly. India is at the forefront of tech globally, and it ranks second amongst the countries with the most startups. However, it only ranks fourth with the number of unicorns produced by a country. So that's actually a huge discrepancy. And when we think about decacorns, that number becomes virtually non-existent, right? So, you know, to kind of fill that gap, you know, we saw in Web2 that majority of Indian tech talent, if you think of any major Fortune 500 company, chances are that, you know, an Indian is at the C-suite level, working in the US, you know, the major CEOs, CTOs, CMOs. However, Web3 is going to change that. Where India is, speaking of Web3, India is still ranked 5th. So I think the amount of potential that India has is tremendous. It's you know, infinite. So I was at a number of blockchain events this year. I went to Singapore Token 2049. I was at a few conferences in Hong Kong, and also attended India Blockchain Week. And I was very amazed to see that the best startups actually had proprietary tech talents based in India. Even if it was a foreign startup, their tech teams were all based in either Bangalore or somewhere in India. So it kind of shows that, you know, that India, with the kind of talent that we have, these, you know, amazing institutions like IITs, IIMs within India, that I think we definitely have, India is truly a powerhouse of technology, and I think India can be at the forefront of Web3 in the next decade or so, for sure.
Oh, that's great. So you have actually helped a lot of startups. What is your advice to startups?
I would say I would have 3 advice, actually, in 3 parts. Firstly is for developers. ABB, always be building. So, you know, don't look at valuations, don't look at prices, you know, that just causes uncertainty and FUD in the market. So, you know, always be building, focus on proprietary tech, focus on plug and play APIs, emerging technology, and also focus on technology that enables mass market to kind of come on board. The next billion. Build with the vision of getting the next billion people on board, and always be regulatory compliant. Always be following the regulators and see what's going on in your country. Second thing that I would I would advise them is actually a very famous quote or a video that I follow from TEDx. It's by a person called Simon Sinek. He says, when people do things, they do it in 3 steps: the what, the how, and the why. And people do it the other way around, right? So people do things for years and then they realize that, why am I doing this? So always figure out your why.
Why first?
Yeah, figure out your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you love what you're doing? What's your purpose? Once you figure out your why, then you can figure out your what and your how. That's very easy, you know, what to do and how to do it.
Right.
Because a lot of people, they do things for years and then they realize, do I really love it? Am I enjoying this? And then they realize that, wow, I've been doing it the wrong way. So figure out your why, your purpose first. And one more advice that I would give is by something that really touched me. Recently, last week while I was in Bangalore, I got an opportunity to meet Sandeep Nelwal, the founder of Polygon. And he was very humble to say that, you know, a lot of Indian startups, when they build with the vision of of building locally, like in their own capacity. However, if you want to scale, Web3 doesn't have any borders. It's a borderless economy.
Course, yeah.
It's permissionless. So if you really want to scale and grow further, you should think in a global perspective. So think in a mindset where people from any different parts of the world will be using this product. So think with that mindset. And I guess that's where AVG comes in and helps Indian startups grow and on a global capacity around different regions.
Thank you so much, Jay, for giving us your valuable time and having this conversation with us.
Thank you so much for having me on this set today. It was such a pleasure, and to the moon.
So that's all in the special conversation for now. This is me, Ruchi Sharma, signing off. Keep watching 3.0 TV.